A few days ago, I made a video talking about the chance of a proper RPG loot system being implemented in Destiny 2 to add longevity to the game, future life, replayability. This was one of two major ways that I felt that Destiny 2 could change the franchise going forward. So, if you haven't seen that video, you can find the link to it down in the description of this, or just click the meme on your screen right now, it'll take you right there. Number 2 on the list, the second most influential way they can change the franchise going forward, is adding and implementing a proper ranked system involved. Now, I know some of you guys have some hesitation about this concept. You're like, I've already sweated all the sweat I have, Pone. I can't do this going into D2. Truthfully, this change, adding in a proper competitive ranked system, would be the most beneficial thing not only for the hardcore players, the sweaty guys, but also the casual public players. And I want to explain why this is a good thing for anyone that involves himself in Crucible. So let's turn back the clocks. 3 years ago, Destiny launched. They had a partnership and aligned with Red Bull. Now, back then, Red Bull was really only involved in esports, and that led a lot of people, including myself, to take a bite of that speculation pie. Red Bull? Well, they wouldn't just casually align with Destiny unless, of course, they knew something competitive was coming in the pipeline. Definitely had me believing something was going to happen. We actually saw their involvement, their partnership come together, and I believe they even hosted a tournament of some sort when the esports scene started to sprout out of nowhere. You had Inkuch and Triple Rec, and I think a lot of other celebrities that were out there playing and competing, and it was very interesting, and I thought this was going to grow into something and blossom. But I feel like they kind of started to hold back. The scene is established, don't get me wrong. And I think with the future and having more opportunity to expand, this could actually come to be. This, I feel like, is the most likely change coming. And not only that, ranked systems in video games are almost a mandatory thing now. If you think about all the other competitive shooters out there, go off the list here. Halo, Call of Duty, yep, that's got it. Overwatch, yep, that one's got it. Siege, yep. Counter-Strike, yeah. So all the big ballers out there all have their ranked system. We're going from bronze to diamond, baby. And this one is the only one out of the loop. But now, like I said, the leash is off. They're able to create something from the ground up. Why not make this become a thing? And I feel like this is definitely going to be something. Worst case scenario, private matches. Best case scenario, a proper ranked system. And that I would just sink my damn teeth into. It's going to be gorgeous. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit. What happens to the community, to the meta, to the game if this does become a thing? And it's a really healthy dose of awesomeness. Number one, if they do add in a ranked playlist, that pretty much eliminates the need for having skill-based matchmaking inside of your basic public casual game type. So Control will no longer be riddled by a bunch of lag. With this, it's going to prioritize connection over everything. It's no longer about matching people with similar skill types, so on and so forth. So, things will become a little less sweaty, which is exciting. As much as I love competition, I don't want competition all the damn time. I'd like to be able to just go in there and casually play without having to think and just kind of do, if you will. That's what I play video games for. I don't always want to be in competition with people. And this would be a healthy thing for those that are, I guess, above the average level of skill, because they can kind of tune it down a little bit and play games the way they've pretty much always been played. It also affects the connection because of this. Skill is no longer a factor. Your matches will now solely be determined based on connection. So this right here, this one change, it's actually not a change, it's adding something new to the game, will remove the need for skill-based matchmaking, which means games are going to be less sweaty, less competitive all the time, which is a good thing, and, of course, reduce the lag dramatically. This is a great thing. Now, there's still ranked playlists. Everybody loves the idea of the ladder climb, going through bronze to diamond. There's going to be more room for competitive. This is going to breathe life into the franchise. And another major thing, the moment a video game introduces some sort of a sweaty experience, a ranked playlist, they now have a crazy strain on the developers to balance the game properly. With the ranked playlist available for that ladder climb, PvP balance will likely scale the priority list. It will be number one on their list. The moment they release a game with a ranked playlist, people will exploit the hell out of those broken elements. And it's going to completely devour the community's interests, and they will have a major responsibility to patch, fix, nerf, buff, do whatever they gotta do to bring it in line with where it should be. And this is good because Generally, Destiny has only ever patched things every 3 to 6 months, and 3 years in, there's still a few things, fusion nades, I'm looking at you, that are still not fixed. And I know there's a lot of people that do not have faith. But as I said before, despite the lack of faith I may have in them to balance things, it's pretty much going to force their hand or their game's going to collapse. So, if it's one thing we know they love, it's money. And if they lose money by not balancing, guess what they're going to do? So that's just my idea. That's how I feel things are going to go forward. I predict that they will add in a ranked playlist, or like I said, at minimum, private. I think the competitive community is going to expand. I think it's going to grow. Interest is going to grow, and sooner or later, this, exactly what I predicted, will become a thing. Because like I said, it's pretty much mandatory in video games now. It's just a matter of time. And ultimately, this will reduce lag. This will increase interest in competitive. This will allow the casual players to play casually without completely sweating all the time. And finally, put a lot more pressure on balance. We will have a much more enjoyable experience in the Crucible, and as I said, this could be one of the most healthy advances that they can take. So Bungo, make it happen, bros.